Paul Gray, thanks very much for chatting to me today. I want to take you back to your very early days. You know, as a little boy. You know, growing up in Essex, and I wonder what the kind of original memories are and influence, if any, of your kind of parents and your friends on your sort of developing music tastes, I suppose.
Oh, God.
Long time ago, of course.
Yeah, usual thing, isn't it? Top of the Pops, probably. I mean,
were your parents, you know, kind of into music at all? Or?
Well, my mum used to be yeah, she was a concert pianist and singer back in the
Oh wow,
back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And she was evacuated in the war. She was early 20s, I think, then. And she set up all these kind of concerts up in Buxton, where she was evacuated to from London. She was from the East End, for kind of invalided soldiers in the war, you know, at Buxton Pavilion. And then she went on in the 50s, and she was she did all the, you know, she did the Lyceum, and she did the Palladium, and she did all the provincial theatres with people like Harry Seacombe, and Thora Hird, and Norman Wisdom, and
wow,
all that lot of thespians, you know.
Yeah.
And she had the tales to tell as well. So yeah, I mean, she was a great pianist. She could sight read Rachmaninoff, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
But ask her to improvise, and like a lot of classical players, you know, she kind of got lost. So so yeah, you know, I guess I got the piano grounding from her, because she played the piano a bit. And had the usual piano lessons, you know, as you were forced to do. And then as soon as I discovered T-Rex, they went out the window. Then it was a guitar, or bass guitar, of course, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. No influence from your dad at all on music stuff?
No, he couldn't play. He loved music. He liked all the stuff that my mum called bellyache music, bellyaching music, like Wagner and Vaughan Williams, and
oh yeah,
you know, I still don't like Wagner, but I do like Vaughan Williams now. But so he was well into all that, you know, classical stuff, but he didn't play anything himself. He just liked, you know, he was just a music fan. He used to go to all the dance halls back in, you know, down in Piccadilly and Shaftesbury Avenue in the 30s, and kind of a bit of a dash again amongst the young ladies there, as he used to tell me after a few shandies.
oh yeah. We'll park those stories up for now.
Yeah.
That's interesting with the piano, because my parents had a piano. My mum used to play piano, and I remember playing in my days when I'm in school. Every now and again, I'd forget to go to school. My parents would go to work, and I'd have like an all day playing really loud music on a record player, and then trying to work out the bits on the piano. You know, like, and that kind of led me into, I suppose, learning the bass notes. Was any of that relevant to you when you took up the bass?
Exactly the same. Yeah, I think the first thing I remember sort of teaching myself is the Persuaders theme.
Oh yeah.
You know, those sort of three notes there, down, 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 down. And yeah, I did the same thing. You know, learning the piano. I mean, I only got up to grade 3 or 4. After that, all the notes became tadpoles and started swimming about, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. Yeah. But it gave me the grounding in melody, you know, as it does. There's just the, you know, the notes that make up a chord, and the other notes you can put around it to make it a bit more interesting. And I mean, I stopped playing the piano as soon as my dad, you know, I badged my dad for a bass when I was about 12, I think, probably 12, 13. And then I stopped playing the piano until I was in the Damned, and they said, "Here, great, you can play the old piano, can't you? Yeah, bung something on that." And that kind of started me off again. But yeah, it's exactly the same thing, Steve. You know, you've got a bit of grounding, and you hear something on the TV or radio, and you think, "Oh God, that's a bit cool. How does that go?" And you go and figure it out, and Bob's your uncle, you know.
I mean, I never progressed on the piano at all, but I just remember that playing on the bass notes in particular. So what led you on to the bass guitar then? You said about T-Rex. What, you know, what led you there rather than guitar stuff then?
there was I had this tiny little transistor radio. I mean, it had a speaker the size of a peanut, you know, when I was about 10 or 11. And I used to listen to Tony Blackburn on a Saturday morning, you know. And I remember a song by Love Affair. You've had a couple of songs, Everlasting Love and A Day Without Love, that are still fantastic songs to this day.
Yeah.
And they had this wonderful galloping bass line, this really lovely clicky bass sound. And it was really mixed loud and really at the forefront. And I just thought it was dead exciting. And then not longer, I saw T-Rex on Top of the Pops, and they were doing Ride a White Swan. And the forget Bolan, all that preening and posing, although I love Bolan. The bass player looked far cooler to me. You know, he had a guitar was big and a longer neck and a big old fat head stock, and his hair was longer. And he just looked really cool. And I thought, yeah, that's better than all that kind of pursing of the lips and prancing about. and it's got the bass stuff, and I did like the bottom end of bass sounding music. And I think that, I mean, but it was being aware of lots of music at the same time around then. You know, at the end of the 1960s, there were so many great songs about,
and musicians.
I've always been into melody over and above virtuosity. You know, it's just a great, all the Monkey songs. You know, just wonderful stuff, real poppy stuff.
I'm glad you said that, Paul, because I totally agree with you. You know, I've always been the same. Actually, I get a bit bored. You know, someone's like doing a big, you know, kind of elongated, you know, guitar solo. But someone plays me, you know, a good tune, and you know, I'm in. You know. Exactly,
and I'm still the same to this day. You know, I still listen to the same music that I did back then. My tastes haven't broadened very much, but so yeah, it was that, and I badgered my dad, and it cost £10. And the thing was unplayable because
the bass,
the bass, I
was going to ask you about your first bass. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I didn't know it was unbeat, but it was in the back of the local paper, 10 quid.
Yeah,
what's it called, Rossetti, and the action was about an inch above the fingerboard. You know, it was unplayable.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. And the B side to get it on to Ride a White Swan was this song called what was it called? Is It Love?
Oh yeah,
that's it. And it's only two chords, two notes. And I didn't know how to tune the bass, so I actually had it tuned about an octave lower than it's meant to be, which made it even more unplayable. But I just figured out, I faffed about on it and figured out, you know, the 2 or 3 notes in the song. And that kind of kicked me off. And then not soon after that, you know, all my mates who had older brothers had been introduced to the Deep Purples and Led Zeppelins and Who's of this world. And, you know, as soon as I heard that kind of, you know, I was always listening to the bass, especially in Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And then Hawkwind, I went to see Hawkwind at 1972 in Southend. And it was just a revelation, you know, living in a very middle-class suburbs of Leigh-on-Sea and Essex. You know, it was full of commuters, you know, and everybody that lived there had their neat front lawns that they mowed on the Sunday when they washed the cars, and got up at 6:30 in the weekday and got the train to London and worked in the bank. You know, it was just, the contemplation of doing that all your life was just awful. And then seeing Hawkwind and thinking, actually, there's something else I might be able to do apart from that, or drive a bus or something, you know.
So just at a guess, I'd imagine you would have been what, 12, 13 then?
Yeah, 72. So I'd have been 13, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So it's quite the thing going to a gig like that at that age as well.
It was. Yeah. I went by myself, and you know, I had the shortest hair there. I was probably the youngest person there.
Yeah.
And I was right up the front, in front of Lemmy, you know. And
wow.
Seeing him kind of breeze on stage with that Rickenbacker,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the light show and just the whole audio visual glory of the whole thing was like, you know, it was just extraordinary. It was a complete other world that I had no idea existed. And after that show, that was when I just dived straight into the bass. You know, I became Johnny No Mates, came straight from school, locked myself in a room,
Yeah.
bought loads of records, me pocket money and paper round, and just stood in front of the mirror for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, it paid off, didn't it? You know?
Well, it did, yeah. I
Yeah.
was very lucky, you know, right place, the right time.